A CBS4 Problem Solvers investigation has uncovered millions of dollars pouring into struggling Indianapolis neighborhoods.
However, we discovered a lot of that money isn't going to the people who live there. Joe Glavin spent months peeling back the layers to expose a system that is growing and could very well be present in your neighborhood right now.
Indianapolis is a city of nearly 1 million people, and many of them want to buy a home. Go to a place like Fountain Square right now, and you'll probably find yourself competing for a house like this. But that's not the reality for every family. I spent months talking to people.
Are you planning to buy it?
Tracking down city data.
Going once.
And piecing together a system you may know nothing about.
Sold to.
Housing experts say over the past decade, it's quickly become a popular way to buy, especially in the city's less affluent neighborhoods.
You're going through that rent-to-buy process?
Yes, rent-to-buy.
The rent-to-buy concept isn't new, but some of the groups using it are.
Have you had problems with the house?
And our CBS4 Problem Solvers investigation centered on one of them, Casas Baratas Aquí. That means cheap homes here in Spanish.
They own quite a bit.
According to Mitch Gore, manager of nuisance abatement for Indianapolis, Casas Baratas Aquí has been on the city's radar for a while.
I'd say they're top 5 in terms of landowners in the city. We call them high-impact landlords because of the level of services they use.
Yet over the past 4 years, using 13 different company names listed on this piece of paper, the city has allowed Casas Baratas and its central figure, Marshall Welton, to buy nearly 1,000 homes. In some neighborhoods, they own a home on virtually every block, and they're often bought here.
Opening bid amount is $159,000.
At sheriff sale auctions of foreclosed homes that take place every month.
Sold.
On the street I'm standing on, Casas Baratas Aquí owns 4 homes. Using the city's own records, I was able to find out that over the past year and a half, the group spent $10 million in auctions. Some of that money came from large national lenders like Corvus and American Homes for Rent.
I was willing to take on a home that needed work.
Josh Bartley represents one of the most extreme cases. He couldn't get a mortgage and says he needed a home fast and saw an ad for Casas Baratas on Facebook. He ended up at this office meeting with Marshall Welton.
We went in and they handed us a sheet of homes that you could go look at. This is all receipts.
Bartley says Welton didn't take him to see any homes. Instead, he picked one of the cheapest off a list in the office and took Welton at his word, sight unseen.
He just kept saying, no, the home's good. I've been in it. I've checked it. It needs to be clean.
He ended up with this, a house gutted, full of trash, without working utilities.
Sold as is.
And a lease that told him the house came in as-is condition, so he was solely responsible for compliance with building and health code laws.
$60 there.
Meaning Bartley started spending his own money to fix the place, even though he was also required to pay $800 a month in rent.
I'm still cleaning up trash out of here.
While Bartley admits he could have done more homework, and he did sign a lease,
those are violations.
Real estate attorney Rob McNevin says the deal Bartley got wasn't entirely legal.
If someone asked me to put that contract together, I would refuse to do it.
McNevin has no connection to this case, and he spoke to me as an independent expert. He said the rent-to-own deals he usually sees give you up to 5 years to buy a property. Instead, Bartley's deal gave him only 1 year, and the state it was in concerned McNevin.
The statute makes it clear that they must deliver a clean and safe unit.
Under Indiana law, landlords must maintain basic utilities: electrical, plumbing, heating and air, and sewer. The problem here is that Bartley was renting to buy, so he thought of himself as a soon-to-be homeowner, and he wasn't the only one.
We just figured that, we was responsible for everything.
I talked to other families, some with the help of a Spanish translator. Quite a few told me they were scared of retribution and didn't want to be identified.
Yes, we had a lot of problems with them.
More than one told me that they asked Casas Baratas Aquí to fix major issues in their homes, and the company did, but not for free.
We could fix that for you, but we have to add it on to the
cost.
Yeah. $1,000 más?
They raised the price like $10,000 now.
Price is pretty high, and to be honest, there's a lot of work to do here in this house yet.
I also requested data from multiple city agencies. I found that over the past 4 years, the city's Department of Business and Neighborhood Services has charged more than $380,000 in fines at Casas Baradas properties.
Especially for one entity, that's quite a bit.
As of May, the various companies tied to the group also owed the health department nearly $20,000 and the treasurer's office $22,000 in delinquent taxes.
Going twice.
Gore and other city officials told me there are mechanisms in place to stop groups from buying properties if they owe the city money. But so far, nothing has been done. In fact, it was after I requested data that Gore told me he'd been meeting with other departments about Casas Baradas aquí.
No option within the law is off the table right now.
Since that wasn't happening quickly, I went in search of my own answers. Marshall Welton, whose name is tied to every company associated with Casas Baradas aquí, ignored my calls to his office, so I called his cell phone.
I would refer you to our attorney, okay? It's Grover Davis.
If you would please give me a call back.
That attorney never returned my calls or emails.
Want to read the rules?
So I showed up here.
All sales are final.
At the auction where Welton buys his properties.
Got 4 minutes to get your deposits in.
I was hoping to talk to him, but he saw our camera and kept looking over at
No
it.
talking while others are bidding.
Before the auction started, he left and didn't come back.
There is one property in particular.
That's when I learned about his new attorney, Doug King.
Why are we sitting down with you instead of him?
Well, if what I say is not evidence, what he says could be.
It's a 64-page complaint.
King represents Welton in this lawsuit filed by the Fair Housing Center of Central Indiana in April. The lawsuit accuses Casas Baradas aquí of more than a dozen violations of the law, focusing in particular on the company's Hispanic and Spanish-speaking clients.
Everybody gets the same documents, and they're all designed to do one thing: put somebody in a home when they couldn't otherwise afford it.
King told me he didn't know about the money owed to the city, but that overall Welton is out to do good.
I sincerely believe, and he sincerely believes, that what he's doing is good for the community because it's making these people who are coming to our community feel at home.
King did admit, though, that the lease given to Bartley and other families was not in line with Indiana law. He said Welton's other lawyers are changing it.
The lease doesn't comport with the statute, and that's why the lease is being replaced.
That's more action than the city has taken.
Of course, we're not done.
Absent action, Gore did have words. He told me he's concerned over the boom in rent-to-buy deals and what they're doing to the city's neighborhoods.
They sell people on the American dream, right? And it really turns out to be a nightmare.
Since we first spoke with Josh Bartley, the tenant you met there, Welton's company took him to court and he moved out of that home. Welton's lawyers have also filed a response to the federal lawsuit, making claims of their own. They say the Fair Housing Center damaged Welton's business and defamed him.
So I've got a quick question, Jill. What should you do if you want to buy a house through this process?
Yeah, and you might want to do that. So one thing you can do is hire a real estate agent. Maybe you can't afford a lawyer. That could be another option for you. You also want to carefully inspect a house inside and out before you enter into one of these deals. You can even hire a home inspector to do that for you.
All right, Jill Glavin, thanks.